Welcome to today's webinar on the advanced programming of the Shark 270. As you may already be familiar, the Shark 270 is in socket form factor or switchboard form factor. If you don't already have the software, you can find it on our website, electroind.com. Go to the products page, scroll about halfway down to energy management software. Click on communicator. Once that loads, select the download free version and fill out the quick prompt to download the software. Once you have the software, uh, you will be you'll see the screen with the software. You can connect to the meter. Today I will be connecting to a remote meter to give you an overview of some advanced programming of the Shark 270. So we established a username and password in this meter, so you can establish that in your meter as well. Once you're logged into the meter, you will have a pop-up that tells you information about your meter. Hit OK. We'll begin briefly with the profile. The software will retrieve your meter profile so you can view its current settings. So here you'll find your CT/PT settings, your system wiring, communications. If you're going to be communicating with the meter, DMP, this is where you would set up your information for your DMP communications. We have a default map of DMP points. You can customize by finding your point that you wish to view over DMP. Analog inputs, binary counters, binary inputs, outputs, etc. I will touch a bit on the CTPT or CT information. With the CTs, if they are installed incorrectly, for example, reverse polarity, we have provided the software ability to correct that reverse polarity. That is important in case you have your installation, you find one of your phases is installed incorrectly, so the meter will detect that as a negative reading. Therefore, for example, if you have 20 amps per phase, your reverse polarity would read as a negative 20 amps on one particular phase. When you go to add your totals, you would get a total of 20 amps of load or generation, which would be incorrect. You should have a total of 60. So here we allow that software correction. It's always better to have a physical, actual installation that is correct, but in case you cannot access your gear, this is an alternative. So we have aggregators that you can customize and set for your readings, measurements, as well as your energy scaling. We've covered this in the um, basic programming before. Power and energy labeling. This is for your quadrants, however you wish to see your which quadrants for your energy are labeled which way. Receive, deliver, positive, negative, and whatnot. code load pickup. You can add the delay for a code load pickup so that the meter does not record that. You also have transformer line loss compensation. You enable the center here. You can do your copper or iron losses or both. That enables that in your meter. You also have the ability to have a time of use calendar. You can do that here. Pulse factors for testing for energy. It's default at 1.8. You can customize that per your site requirements. There are also CTPT compensation capabilities here. Enable, and you can update the values. I will touch a little more in depth on the display, but for now I'm jump ahead to power quality, limits, and power. So here there's particular points that your facility wishes to monitor for quality or alarming purposes. You can set that information. For example, you want to know when your maximum voltage exceeds a certain limit. You can customize that to the certain percentage that you wish to see, and you'll be informed. There will be a point that gets recorded. If you have the Shark 270 with the advanced waveform power quality capabilities, you initially purchased it with the lower V switch, you may have to come to the Waveform PQ settings here and enable these checkboxes. But here, this enables you to record in power quality and waveform capture whenever you have surges and sags in your voltages and your currents. This will help you troubleshoot when you have an issue at your facility. You can change the rate at which the captures are scanned. As you can see, the total cycles changes per the resolution of those captures. You can have pre-triggers. That means how many pre-trigger cycles, how many cycles before the incident occurs. And you can capture that as well to have a buildup, so you can see what occurs before the incident. To set your waveform power quality log, you would set here. You also have your historical logs. Your limits, your waveforms can be stored in the logs. So you can change the size or how much memory is allocated in the meter for your historical points and your waveform power quality events and captures. By default, the meter comes with these settings. You can extend how large of a log you want the meter to utilize for your points. Here it indicates live how many captures per your settings in the power quality you will be able to maintain stored in the meter. Power quality events. In the historical log profiles, you can select exactly what points you wish to store in the meter. We do provide default points these are preset default, but it is customizable. You have additional logs that don't. The historical log 6, for example, comes blank. You can add to the points you already have, or add to this blank log. So you can simply select the point, add, choose what group you wish to see. If you want the time on meter, double click there, and the meter point will move over to the configure log items. So you can see again your points or your historical logs, how once you add more points, it cuts down on how much the duration of your log. So for example, if on log 6 currently it shows at 16 months, I add several points, and now it drops your historical log to 6 months. So you can adjust per your requirements. The option cards, the meter is capable of having several different option cards. This particular meter has the network card, and you can set your IP address. This was covered on the basic programming, but you also have the capability to enable web browser, web server, which was also briefly covered in the basic. This is where you can see the meter on your web page. So this is the same meter. And you also have the DMP support you can enable here. Have your DMP address range. Okay, so that quickly summarizes some of the advanced features. We'll go to the meter display. So here, the great thing about the Shark 270 is you have a display that you can see readings on. Another great thing about our meter is this display is highly customizable. So we'll pull up the current settings on the meter. So that quickly loaded. And as you can see, we have a master list with all the possible options to place in your meter. And the meter comes with 3 default modes: normal, the diagnostics, and time of use. Here you can select on different screens, and you can see what they are, and say, and for example, if one of the screens you wish to customize, you can double click and change. If in case you wish to simply add, you can select a particular master list item, drag it over, and it appends it to that screen. And double click, well, change what information shows there. custom blank screen. And here you can add a message. Excuse me. Title. There's your text. As you can see, you can have messages. We also provide customization to add perhaps a harmonics. And you want to see your phaser. Like, oops, what's going on here? Now I've added too many items. Not to worry. You can select particular item and delete. Let's highlight. It will create a light or blue box and you can delete. It's very customizable. You want some waveforms, you can provide the waveforms. You update the screen, it will show. Now your hello is on your screen here. If you have multiple meters and you wish to apply these display configurations to those meters, you can simply save your screen profile. It prompts you where you wish to save documents, save, and example, you try to create a new profile, it clears out. This is a new screen. You start from scratch, but you can load your screen from that template that you saved, and it's all back here. You can see our hello with waveforms. And so this has not yet been uploaded to the meter. Once you're satisfied with your customizations and what displays show the different modes, you can upload to the meter. One thing about the modes I didn't touch yet on, you can scroll through the meter display. Um, the meter automatically triggers each screen to show, but you can manually, with a magnet toggle on the side of the meter, you will jump to the desired screen and it will prompt you. So an additional thing on the screen settings here, you can set the time between the transition of your screens, and you can rename your different screen modes. The mode tag is limited to 3 characters. So for example, you can do first, second, third, apply, and you see those have been applied to the mode. Helps you identify that. That that mainly covers your screens configuration. Again, you can find any points or different pre-populated screen here that you wish to add to your meter. So now I will proceed with the log viewer and waveform recording. So, so as mentioned previously, oh, it looks like my meter may have timed out a little. As mentioned previously, you must retrieve the logs to view the meter logs. Let's let's try that again. So here you can view which logs are on your meter. You've configured them, which have data. If you recall, when I showed the profiles, there was no points on historical log 6, so you will not find any data there. We can select to download certain points or certain logs, excuse me, that will trigger the meter's log retrieval process. You will get this pop-up here that tells you the progress of your meter logs download. This may take a minute, so we can try opening a log. So I selected the open log. You got a list of meters that you have on your list. Once you select that, you can see your point. It looks like the other finished, the one that I was just downloading. And so you can select data points from your logs to retrieve. You can carry them over at all. Okay, you set your time range for how far back you wish to see data for. Let's see, for the previous 3 weeks. Okay, and now you select your historical trends. Your historical trend will show a timestamp and all the points that you have selected. Today is the 24th. We went back 3 weeks. That is April 4th. So you can see this in a table form. You can highlight all the points, right click, and copy to clipboard with the header, and export or save to an Excel sheet that way. You also have the capability to graph. So here you have certain points you wish to graph. We can try the voltages. Well, let's just try all of them. See what we get. So here there was not much change in some values, so that you get straight lines. You can zoom in by hovering, clicking, and extending to certain points, certain values or plots. You can select undo, brings you back to your default screen. You can change which view you wish to have of those points. You can do daily point, zoom in. You do have the ability to export the plots here to different image formats and the data to text. can export to clipboard or file or print. You can set certain limits on your scale, view your minimum and maximums for any particular days. You can, if you right click on the screen, you can also customize some of the items that you're viewing. You could mark a data point, makes a little dot at your data point. And it holds that point, so now you see the dots at each data point. Exit, cancel that, go back. We can also view our waveforms. We have one waveform here. There's an incident, an event occurred, and you can double click or press the graph button. So this is the waveform capture that was triggered. You can double click particular point. Again, click, hold, and extend. It'll zoom in, and you can see that waveform. Go back, it shows. If you wish to see overlapping plots, you can highlight them. Now you can see what each phase was doing when there was that voltage sag. Back. If you want to compare that versus the currents, double click, it shows these. So you know your currents were low there, your voltage sagged as well. You can select your advanced waveform, any particular points, add. Pick and choose what you wish to see. Go back. Again, you can export the data, or export the pictures. Close that. Go back. You can see our power quality. Here we only have 2 events, but that power quality tells you when the event occurred, the start, end time, duration, and which phase. So here we saw a sag on the C phase and the value that was detected, which again, this is percent of full scale. It was detected, it exceeded the limit that was set in the profile. So this is customizable per your needs as well. You can have a tight window, which may cause more power quality log events, or a larger window, which only would capture more extreme events. And this is the log viewer, which allows you to see all that information once you've downloaded it from the meter. That mainly covers all the topics that I have for today. I believe we can open it up to questions.